Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room. Today, lucky enough to have Sienna Tamati from Resourceful Women. Sienna, thank you very much for coming and spending the time with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem. Can't wait to get into it. As you know, we start with the life and the times. So let's get into that.
So I was born and raised in Pilbara, which is a small mining town. Basically just red dirt and family ties, I guess. You know, everyone around me was like a family because it was just so small. My dad was working for Rio Tinto at the time. My mum was working for a recruitment agency, and then we were just ready to leave. So we moved to Perth, and then I was in school doing all that stuff.
What school did you go to?
Parkville Primary, and then I went to Eastern Hills Senior High School.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad was FIFO that whole time, and my mum decided to open up the Resources Hub and Resourceful Women. While I was still in school, I graduated as head girl of my high school.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. It was really, out of the ordinary, but I kind of knew from then that, you know, leadership was a big part of what I wanted to do. Throughout my whole high school journey, I was student counsellor, faction leader, PC leader, all of that stuff. Graduated in 2022, started working with my mum just to get a full-time job.
Is that what you wanted to, going through high school? Did you have any idea what you wanted in your early days? Is it close to what you're doing now? Is it close to what you thought you would be doing?
Kind of. I was either thinking of being a teacher or being a psychologist. I really liked the idea of helping people, and I guess that kind of transitions into working for the recruitment agencies. I'm still helping people, getting them into roles and stuff like that. So, yeah,
Awesome.
I'd say so.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what year did you start working with your mum? And has it been hard working with your mum? They always say don't go into business with bloody family.
Yeah. So I started in 22 when I graduated, just to get a full-time job, because I needed to save money. I had all of these big travel plans and stuff. And at first it was really hard because I was transitioning from going into school to then, being up and being in the office for 8 and finishing at 5 and stuff like that, which I was never used to. And then, I kind of wanted to do something different. So then I went and did FIFO for a bit.
So you worked for your mum first?
Yeah.
And then went FIFO?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I came back to working with mum because I just realised I didn't see myself progressing so much in FIFO, and I'd been in a FIFO family my whole life. So I, especially being so young, missed out on a lot of things throughout my whole childhood with my dad. But then also when I'd left school, I was like, oh no, maybe I'll go travel for a bit and then I'll come back and see if FIFO's still for me.
Yep.
And then I went back into working with mum just as it was kind of just like a rebound job at first, but now I'm really enjoying it because I have that work ethic and I know a lot more about the industry as well. So it kind of all worked out for the better.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go back to your time FIFO. Mm-hmm. So what was your first job? Where were you? Who were you working for?
I was working for ESS. I was working in the kitchen.
Utilities?
Yeah. And I was working at Spinifex, which is a BHP site.
Oh, awesome. So how big was the camp?
Probably like 300 to 500.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Mid-size?
Yeah.
And what would a day consist of for you? Up at what time? There might be someone who may come to Resourceful Woman recruitment and be like, hey, listen, I watched the episode with you and you know what? I want to get into utilities. Great little segue into building something
100%. It's
great
awesome.
in mining.
Yeah, so I guess a day in the life, I was on a 2-week on, 1 week off roster.
Yep.
So the first week I was up at 6 a.m. I would finish at 6 p.m. And then,
like you're out of your room or you just wake up at 6?
No, like I was in the kitchen for 6 a.m. So I was up
12-hour days, wow.
Yeah. And then we would transition to night shift on the second week. So I was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Do you have a little one day off in the middle?
No. Oh, well, kind of. So I was Mondays to Mondays. So Monday night I'd finish at 6 p.m. and then I'd have basically the whole of Monday off and then I would start at 6 p.m. Monday night, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Run me through a day.
Well, you get in, and then, you've got crib, dining, pots and dishes. So hopefully there's 4 people on at a time, but, it's rare occasions. Sometimes we had to bring in contractors and stuff like that, or the casuals, which are like the people on holiday visas and things. But yeah, you would start off, your supervisor would appoint you to a different role. So if you were on crib, you were filling up all of the like food that the workers come and grab. If you were in pots, you had these like massive trays, and they're really deep sinks, and you would like put the pots in a cycle, and then you'd scrub them, and then you'd put them on a table, and then you'd grab a bunch of other pots and let them cycle, and then while those are cycling, you grab the pots from the table and put them through the sanitizer. Dishes is like your plates and your cutlery and stuff like that.
But it's you've got dishwashers on site. It's
You're
not there with a scrubbing brush, right?
Well, you are, because sometimes there's like stuff stuck to the parts of the pot. So
the dishwasher won't come off? Won't get it off?
No.
Oh, well, a little bit of bloody manual labour everyone needs.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Made me strong. And then your dining is like where people go and eat. So the tables, the fridges that are full of milk and stuff, you would restock that.
Sauces, all that sort of jazz.
Make
condiments.
sure that they're clean. You wipe down the tables, mop the floors, stuff like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was like a rotating thing because it never stops in the kitchen. I think it doesn't get enough credit. It is hard work, and it is manual labour.
It's what's feeding the. It's what's
and
feeding
what
the workforce,
the people
right?
up on site like to eat because it's free. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
free board, free food.
Yeah,
can't really complain too much about it, right?
Yeah, but I think the most difficult time was the night shifts because a majority of people work days. So when you're on night shifts, you get that dinner rush because everyone finishes at 6 p.m, which is when you're starting. So you get that dinner rush, but then you also get the morning rush because people are about to go off to work. So night shift, it was chill in between those times. You'd just be doing general cleaning. But man, those times at 6 p.m. till like 8 and 4 a.m. till 6 was chockers.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you remember a time where you knew that the resource industry was for you? Was it at a young age, or was it after your stint with working on the mines?
I probably knew it was for me when I had graduated from high school and I'd gotten into working with mum, and I was like, wow, like there's so much depth to the mining and resources industry. And that's kind of why I gave it a go. But also just from growing up in the Pilbara and coming from a FIFO family, my mum's done FIFO, my dad's still doing FIFO, all of my brothers are FIFO. So it was like, regardless, I wasn't able to escape it. I was always gonna
destined.
Yeah, pretty
destined
much
to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What have been some of the biggest surprises, good and bad?
Probably that like people don't know a lot about the industry unless you're working in the industry. When I was up there, well, now actually I see that like a lot of people think that it's, good money and stuff like that, but they don't really see the whole you're working 12 hours a day and it's not actually great money. It's the amount of hours that you're doing. But on top of that, they don't know how big the industry actually is because to them, their campsite, that's all that they know. But when you kind of take a step back and you're working in the industry, you're like, wow, there's so much more to the actual industry than just the one campsite that I was working at because that was like my little bubble, Yeah. But now that I go to these mining and resources events and they're talking about this site and oh yeah, and we're expanding on this and we're doing this and these are the roles that we want to fill. And I was like, wow, like I had no idea about all of that.
Yeah, when you start hearing about the 2,000 plus man camps,
yeah,
and you're just like, and like for me, I've been on little tiddler mine sites, and I always remember people telling me, BHP, you've got this site which has got 2,500. This new one they're building 3,000. I just think that's wild,
crazy.
So the utilities management for those sites.
Wild. Oh yeah, you'd have to have
wild.
like 10 people on a shift.
Right, I want to get into Resourceful Women.
Yes.
So you blew my mind this morning because I thought it was just I didn't realise that it was just that it was a 2-part series.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So Resourceful Women is a recruitment agency. We primarily focus in helping women get roles in the mining and resources industry. But at the moment, we're putting together a seminar.
And you've had a great reception from it, from people out in the industry, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%. We've had a lot of people come back and be like, wow, this is definitely something that needs to happen. You've got seminars and stuff, but they're more aimed towards the C-suite people, whereas this one is actually aimed towards the women that don't get the opportunity to talk to general managers and CEOs, and they're not in the industry, or they don't know an awful lot about the industry besides the side that they're working at, as I mentioned before. So this is giving them the opportunity to find out more about the industry, ask questions where they're not going to be shut down or feel like they look silly, and also to network with the right people, because I think one of the biggest problems at the moment working for a recruitment agency that I see a lot is, people will send through their applications and they'll apply on Seek and they won't hear anything back for ages because it's all gone into the Seek void, because there's 1,000 people that have applied for this role, because it's right there, it's online, it's accessible. Whereas this is like you're putting your face to a name, you're going up and you're meeting these hiring managers and you're saying, okay, so what is it that you're looking for? What do you want? How can I do that? And they're finding other ways into the industry that isn't admin or truck driving. They're really getting to explore a lot more about the mining and resources industry, and they're getting to network. I think the biggest part of the industry is it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's
most definitely
how I got the role. That's how my friend got a role, because, my dad had put in a good word for me. And with my friend, I had put in a good word for her. So it's also allowing these women that have just been sitting around for ages waiting for their resume to get picked to really go up to these CEOs, these general managers, these recruiters and saying, okay, here I am. I'm ready to learn. I know a lot more about the industry now. You know that I'm keen. And it helps the companies as well, because these are the women that are investing in themselves and their future and their career path, to be like, okay, well, that's actually the person that I want. That's the person that's willing to learn and wanting to know more about the industry. That's my person that I want to hire.
I like that. I like what you said earlier about, like someone's finished a finance degree, or someone's been working in finance, not just office admin to go and work office admin, but someone who's been working in finance to go and think, well, I can go and work finance for a mining company.
Yeah, exactly.
They might not have thought that before. So setting up what you're doing is bloody magic.
Thanks, yeah.
That's all right. Hit me with some good stories that you've come across from the industry.
I mean, some good stories have just been about career progression. I think my site mum, Sienna, she was like my biggest inspiration when I was up on site, and she had started off in utilities. And she was just talking to the right people, getting to know more about the industry, and she's now the supervisor for the Rail Academy at BHP.
Where'd she start?
In the kitchen.
Awesome.
Housekeeping, well, as a utility.
Yep.
But, she knew nothing about the rails and stuff like that, and a lot of people don't,
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's about talking to the right people and networking and, really showcasing what you can do and how you do it, and moving your way up. Like, it's such an inspirational
Do you have a photo of her?
Oh yeah, I do.
So send it through, and then we'll chuck it into.
Yeah, I'll tell her.
And then you
I'll
can
tell her.
say, "Oh, you're going to be in this bloody crazy little bloody podcast,"
Yeah, but then also my mum, she started off in utilities, and then when she fell pregnant, she was a contractor, and you only get paid when you're working, and obviously when you've just had a newborn, you're not really working. But her story was really incredible too, because she started off in utilities, she became a contractor doing admin, and then she was like, all right, I'm ready to change up, and now she's got 2 really successful recruitment agencies.
She's also did a bloody great job as president of the WA Mining Club for a year, didn't she?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Look, anyone that I've spoken to, your mum is always, when I have spoken to people about the WA Mining Club, Danny Tamati's always up there at the top next to bloody Barry Upton.
Yeah, she's a good person to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, so we went over some positives. What about some challenges for women in mining? Get into the nitty gritty.
I think some of the challenges is just like not being fully accepted into the industry. That's a big challenge that women tend to face is, they get up to site and it's all exciting for them. It's new. It's something that they're passionate about. But unfortunately, there's still that whole diversity thing where they're not really seen as capable or able to work in the role that they've been hired for because, there's still a lot of men and other women that can tend to bring them down. So I think
even women on a site are knocking other women that are trying to bloody get on board.
Yeah, I think.
Really? It's a little bit catty, isn't it?
Yeah, but, it's like a high school mentality, I guess, because you're stuck in this area with these people and you're not going to get along with everyone and that's fine. But there's a fair wallop of people that probably don't like me in the mining industry. He's too loud. He's this. Whatever. Yeah, but I think that's the biggest challenge that women tend to face is everyone just sees them as a diversity hire instead of someone that's actually capable to do the job.
Look, and at the end of the day, like you say, even if it is a diversity hire, who cares? Like BHP did the right thing by saying we need more women in mining and this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to get there. Great. Because what happens is you start in utilities and you end up as a railway technician.
Yeah.
So she had to learn, she had to become great at something and then just develop on her skill set to get there.
Yeah.
So that's a load of nonsense.
I think
but for sure, still a challenge. That's a great challenge for women in mining. That's the real stuff.
Yeah.
That's the real stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's positives and there's challenges, but there's positives and challenges in every single industry.
Oh, 100%. And as long as you're keeping to yourself, making friends with the right people and focusing on what it is that you're doing. When I was FIFO, I kept my home life and my work life completely separate. When I was at work, I was there to work. Sure, I socialized and made friends, but that's just the kind of person that I am. Like I would talk to anyone and everyone.
I'm the same.
And it worked to my advantage because they were like, oh, Sienna, take this iPad and go get feedback. So I'd be like 20 minutes, not really doing work, just talking to people, being like, yeah, so how's your food? And I'd be writing it down and stuff. It was great for me though, because I got to socialize. But I guess, just keeping to yourself and focusing on what it is that you want to do. And you're only up there really for a week, 2 weeks. And then when you get home, that's your time to chill out, go hang out with your real friends that you're not kind of forced to like. Yeah. And just decompress from working 12 hours a day for 1 to 2 weeks straight.
How is the Resourceful Women initiative changing and shaping the way forward for women in the mining industry?
So the seminar primarily, it's kind of helping women get a real understanding on the mining and resources industry. Unfortunately, a lot of people are being brainwashed by being like, oh yeah, come be a housekeeper and earn $3,000 a week. And it's like, that's not realistic. And yeah, it seems glamorous, but you're literally cleaning up after dirty people for 12 hours a day and it's a lot of work. Toll. Yeah. So I guess the initiative for the seminar came from like really opening up these doors for women to be like, okay, this is the mining industry. This is what it holds. These are the roles that you can get into. This is how you can deal with your mental health when you start a FIFO role, because that's another major thing is a lot of them don't know how to deal with that. They don't realize that when you're away from your children, you're away from your family, you're away from events and stuff like that. So it can take a real toll on one's mental health, especially when they don't know a lot of people up on site. So it's allowing them to also network with people that they might meet when they're up on site because they've both gotten a role. And then putting them in contact with the right people too and the right companies. The companies that are at this event are the ones that are really trying to hire more women purely because that's what they believe in and that's something that they want for their company and because they know that women deserve to be in this industry. So it's putting them in contact with the right companies that are going to treat them like a human being.
Awesome. What do you say to women who want to get into the industry but don't know where to start?
Network. Network is a huge, huge thing.
WA Mining Club.
Yeah, WA Mining Club.
Give them a plug.
Yeah.
So do you have to work in mining to be a member of the WA Mining Club?
No.
You don't?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then, you've got the mining club, but then you've got this seminar that we're putting on as well. You're going to be
for sure
in a room full of industry professionals this is like a perfect opportunity for them to network, because a lot of them don't have the chance to network at things like this. There are other women in mining events, but those tickets are crazy expensive. And
what does it cost to come to your seminar?
So it's $300 for the day.
Yep.
That's morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea. You'll get to listen to all of the guest speakers. It starts at 8:30 and finishes at 5, so it's like a full day event.
Is there bevies at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And just for women?
Yeah, well, we can have some men come along if they're the ones that are advocating for more women to get involved, especially.
Can come along?
Sure, you can come along.
I'll be chatting to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'll be a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. We've gotten some hit and misses for the prices. Some people are like, oh, it's a bit expensive, but they're the same people.
$300 isn't expensive if you're currently in mining.
Yeah.
However, I think that $300 to someone not working in mining.
Yeah, well, we
be-
have payment plan options
you
and
do?
stuff like
Okay,
that. So
cool.
it's like $50 every fortnight or something. I don't know. But
You get a job in mining and it pays itself back.
well,
So that's the thing.
exactly. And
It's
the
an
other-
investment in your future.
yeah, and the other thing is, people are saying that $300 is a lot, but they're willing to pay that money to go get lashes done or their hairs done or buying clothes.
I wasn't thinking anything like that. I was thinking they would go out and
Well, that too.
spend it on the bevies
you've-
or
yeah, you got no problem going out to the clubs and spending that kind of money. But when it comes to investing in yourself,
Yeah.
they're a little bit like, oh, I don't know. 'Cause
That's a
what
great
if this-
point to get across, actually.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. What do you think the biggest misconception about women in mining is? That they're not strong enough?
Yeah, I guess so. That they're
That's not mine, by the fucking way. I was just, you hear it over the years.
Yeah.
You're not going to pick that up.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the man's probably not going to pick it up either, and you use a fucking telehandler.
Yeah. I think the biggest misconception is that a lot of them feel as if they don't belong there simply because of how other people make them feel. And that's not the case at all. You've gone out, you've done the training, you've done the things that are required from you.
Yep.
You belong there just as much as anyone
yeah.
else.
The big push from BHP was at 5 or maybe, I don't know, it wasn't that long ago that these, the big 3 or however many were saying we want 50% women in our workforce, right? So it's just early stages of, progression. In 10 years' time, it'll just be commonplace. Some of the 55 to 65-year-old old heads, they're gone. They grew up in an industry or they, progressed through an industry where there was no woman in mining.
Yeah.
They did it tough. They paved the way for what we have now, and you're now paving the way for women in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's magic. I'm wrapped for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, you'll do bloody well. Look, all you got to do is have some passion. Get out there, give it a crack.
Yeah.
You have tough days, and I think that's what I always try to tell people is, in mining, you have tough days. You might have a tough week, but you just keep going, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
But that's the other thing about what we're trying to do is making those tough days a little easier, because being a recruitment agency, we're not like other recruitment agencies. Once you're on site, we're still going to message you every week and ask how you're doing, or every month. And then, just make sure that there's someone that's actually listening to you and hearing you out. Like if we place someone through the Resources Hub or through Resourceful Women, we still keep in contact with them and we say, look, if you need anything, like reach out. We create these connections and we build these friendships and we build this trust so that people, when they get up on site and if it's all new to them, they know that they have someone that they can talk to. And especially with my mum owning the company and all of her years of experience, she knows what it's like. She knows the ins and outs and how rough it can be. So I guess the best part about Resourceful Women is allowing these women to not only find a job for them, but also knowing that they have people that they can count on and people that are supporting them and hearing them out, and they're cheerleaders.
That's awesome. My last question for you, Sienna, is what do you want to say to women that are currently in the industry and also women that aren't in the industry but are having those thoughts, I'd actually like to have a crack at this. What would you want to say to them?
I would just say,
get along.
Yeah, well, come along to the seminar, put yourself out there, really get some true knowledge on the mining and resources industry instead of, lounging around watching TikToks and stuff like that where it's not necessarily true information. I mean, at this seminar, we're talking to women that were single mothers and they were handling all of that, women that started in utilities and worked their way up. So get out there, put yourself forward, network with these kinds of people and network with the companies that are really looking to hire more women because you can't just sit around on TikTok and on Seek praying that you get up there. You need to put yourself out there and show people that you have that initiative and you have that drive to get into the mining and resources industry.
Do you think you could do me one favour at the seminar?
Sure.
If I don't get there, if I don't make it, could you please have someone up on the podium saying, stop putting the day in the life of this is me on a mine site to any newcomer to it. It's filling up me bloody YouTube feed.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Everyone's that you put yes, we know, you have a shower, your alarm went off, you went to the gym, you put your work gear on. This is the mess, great. We've seen a million messes.
Yeah.
This is your lunch, great. This is your morning smoko, afternoon smoko.
Yeah.
And this is your mess at the end. This is the mess at the end of the day. And this is me going to bed. It's the fucking same thing. Stop doing it, everybody.
Yeah. It's
TikTok
that
and fucking sorry. I got real into that one.
Yeah, you did.
Pissed me right
It's
off.
that influencer status that people are chasing, They want people to see their life as being glamorous and all of this and all of that because they work FIFO. It's
Anyone
not
who
always
knows,
glamorous.
anyone who's bloody worked FIFO knows it's not glamorous.
Yeah.
You go to work, it's hard.
Yeah.
You come home from work, it's hard.
Yeah.
You're on the phone to your family, it's hard.
Yeah, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere.
It's hard.
You're working long days. It's hard.
The money's good.
Yeah.
And so everyone should have a crack at it. And look, I say this so many times, mining is not for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the other thing. That's the great thing about this seminar. Our panels are talking about entry level to leadership. They're talking about doing a trade. They're talking about the white collar roles. You don't necessarily need to go up to a mine site to be in the mining industry. You can simply just work for one of the big threes from Perth office. And
Couple of those little buildings in the city.
yeah, and you're technically still in the mining industry because you're working for a mining company.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Sienna, thank you very much for coming in and spending the time. We covered some bloody ground. I know that you're a passionate young woman and you'll do bloody well.
Thank you.
Listen to your mum.
Oh, no. Everyone tells me that.
Yeah. Listen to your parents. I didn't. Fuck me right up.
Yeah, well, I do owe them some credit. If it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't have that FIFO experience. And if it wasn't for Mum, I wouldn't be so passionate about recruiting and trying to help more women get into the industry.
Awesome. Well, I wish you every success.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for tuning in to another Ripper episode on The Gold Room. Don't forget to get into the show notes and look for Resourceful Women.